guys? All right, I want to talk about theory, and this is theory for guitar players, even though it's no different from other theory, but really it does pertain to guitar players and will help you immensely, especially some of you guys that are getting into different chords and different chord voicings and why they're called what they are. So let's get into it right now. Anything that's extended past your 7 is now going to be like an extension of your chord. Okay, your 9, your 11, and your 13, which is your 2, your 4, and your 6. Your 2, your 4, and your 6 are not in your 1, 3, 5, 7 makeup of a chord. Okay, they're not in there, so they become extensions. All right. So now I want you guys to bear with me here. We're gonna just focus on the extensions. Why is it a 9 and not a 2? Okay. What's the difference between an A, the 2 on it, and an A9? When you get into the extensions, a 9 implies that there is a 7 involved in the chord, okay? And as well as an 11 and as well as a 13, okay? And it goes backwards. Now, there are a number of theories about this, and this does get a little bit more into organ, but basically if you have a 9, an A9, it's a dominant 7 chord with a 2 on top, which makes it a 9, okay? It's not just a regular A major chord with a 2, okay? It's a dominant 7 with a 2, which makes that 2 become a 9, and the chord is called a 9. So that odd number makes it dominant, okay? A9. So now if I were to say A11, which does not happen very often, the reason an 11 chord is not all that common is because if I have a dominant chord, all right, my 11 is actually just the tonic, the 1 of that key. So if I have an A7, right, my 1 would be my D, my tonic would be my D, and you don't want that D really floating around in your chord because it won't resolve. That D is the resolution note that you want. So 11s are not that common, but for sake of theory, the 11 implies not just that it's a dominant 7, but that there is also a 9 in there, okay? And then the 13 implies that the 11 and the 9 can be played. They don't have to be played, obviously, but they are able, because that's like kind of the building up, and you're basically building up in thirds. 1, 3, 5, flat 7, right? And then from there you're going a third up to the 9, right? A third up to the 11, and a third up to the 13. Okay, that's like how you're building all the way up. That's why everything below is implied but not implied. I don't know. It's really crazy. Okay, but basically, if you have an A13 chord, you could throw your 9 in there. Okay, and it would still be an A13. You wouldn't have to say A13 add 9. Okay, so that is because an A9 or an A13 or an A11, that odd number brings it back to an A7 plus the extension note. This is the same thing when we get into major. What I mean by that is A major 13 is not just an A with a 6 on it, or a 13, but a 6, okay? The 13 still implies that there's a 7, and because it's major, sometimes written with a triangle, sometimes an uppercase M, depends what school you go to, depends what charts you're reading, but an A major 13 would be an A major 7 with your 6 on top, or and really anywhere, it doesn't have to be on top, okay? Which also means you could add your 9, but because it says major before the number, it's a major 7 plus the extension. A9 is a major 7, you just take the 7 away, say major 7 plus the 9, okay? And a really common one on that, if I can split off real quick, would be like an A major 7 sharp 11, okay? Now the reason that is, that's my sharp 11 right here, okay? And that sharp 11 plays off of your flat, or your natural 7, right? Kind of forms this perfect 4th, depending on your voicing. So that just sounds a little bit more pleasant. If I have a natural 4, oh my God, I can't even play that. Anyway, it gets that. I'll just skip the octave. Right, it gives you that on an A bass, it gives you this tritone that's not very fitting. So that's why for major 7, a lot of people will do like an A major sharp 11. Okay, so A major, sharp 11 means an A major 7 with a sharp 11. Could also add the 9, that's always subjective like I'm saying. And then same with an A major 13 would be, I think I already did that example, but A major 7 with the 13 in there, A major 9, A major 7 with the 9 thrown on top, and the same deal. So same thing if we're talking about minors now, okay? Minor, A minor, right? A minor 7, A minor 9. I love minor 9s. The reason I love those minor 9s is because that creates a perfect fifth between the 5 scale degree and the 9. And in all of these chords, the fifth is not really necessary. It's not really necessary in the chord, to tell you the truth. You can always take the fifth out unless it's augmented or diminished. The fifth never really has to be there. So that creates this awesome kind of embellishment off of like this perfect fifth, that really kind of powerful perfect fifth off of the 5th scale degree of a chord that doesn't even need the 5th scale degree. All right, that kind of makes sense. So that 9, right? So it would be an A minor 9, which is just an A minor 7 with a 9 on top. All right, an A minor 11. That might happen a little bit more. The reason that might happen a little bit more is when you have an A minor 7, right? That flat 7 and that flat 3. Right, you can add that 4 and the root note in, and it kind of creates this parallel, you know? It's like parallel 4s, that's my flat 7 and my minor 3rd, right? And then I can bring that up to my octave and my natural 11. So that's why that can be, like I said, 11s are not usually that played unless it's the major 7 with the sharp 11 in there, which is a great chord. Your 13s, these are really funny. The 13 I love, if I do an A minor 7, and I add my 13 in, my natural 13, okay? A minor 13 would still be an A minor 7 with a 13. That actually creates your minor 3rd and your natural 13. It gives a tritone, which makes it want to resolve back to your 1, okay? So the only minor scale degree, chord degree that has a natural 13 is your 2nd, okay? Your Dorian. Your Dorian has a natural 6, okay? So that's why that would be. So if you have an A minor 13, natural 13, okay, you're applying that A is the 2 chord, and that's still giving you that tritone, which resolves to your G. All right, kind of cool. All right. And then obviously like an A minor flat 13, okay, would be your A minor 7 flat 13. Which you don't really need in there necessarily, because that flat 13 is going to give the impression that it's a minor 4 chord, okay, if you kind of watch. My A, right, my if I take that up, that E up to an F, that F is very predominant as the minor 3rd, my 4, my D minor, so it's not always played in a 1 minor, okay? So I do hope all of that helps. I didn't give a whole lot of tips and tricks, but a little bit of chordal theory and chart theory for you guys to figure it out. Sometimes minor is written with a dash, A dash 7. Sometimes it's A lowercase m 7, okay? And the majors are A triangle 7 or A uppercase M 7. So I hope that worked, guys. Let me know if you need any help. That was definitely a little bit more advanced. And I will go into some tricks on how to use this stuff, but just a little bit of theory. I want to try to pump out some more advanced lessons. All right, awesome, guys. Thanks.